Hello, and welcome to another episode of my Alpha Centauri Let's Plays. This is Northstar. Hope you folks are well. For those new to my channel, check the series out from the beginning. Check out my other series. I have a lot of different games that I do Let's Plays of, as well as pure politics videos. They're organized into different playlists. Check them out. For those who decide to watch this first, I am disabled on COVID. It sucks. You hear commentary sometimes related to that, and I am trying to build my YouTube to where I can monetize it, so I can earn money, so I can survive, and not be stuck in a situation where I am staying with family members who treat me toxically and abusively manipulate me. It's a long story. So trying to be, free. Interesting. This peninsula, these tiles are already almost 1,000 years. I could definitely raise them. Create some more land tiles. I'm at it. Anyways, so I'm kind of jumping around here. this is where the cursor was when I loaded back in. I said I'm about to finish planetary networks, and I will switch into planned economy quickly for some rushing and growth. A little bit of application of government guidance, and there's some low-hanging fruit that the simple, relatively unplanned economics, not even free market, but even if they were, capitalists are just not achieving in this society. So, little intervention. Perhaps more later. But really need to get to a point where I'm not running the alien crossfire expansion, so I can't pop boom bases through golden ages, so where I can build children's creches, and then with that investment in education infrastructure, taking up planned democracy that is democratic socialism, essentially. I plan to really represent socialism and nationalization of key industries and workers' cooperatives. I don't care what the description says. Otherwise, things like Morgan not being allowed to run planned. I was saying that free drones affinity, but actually eudaimonia is their affinity for it. The bonus is it just makes far more sense to be planned. Of course, this game was made in the period of insane U.S. and I say this is American, but I can criticize my own say insane U.S. '90s arrogance. Especially, the game came out I think in 1999, and of course that means it was designed even earlier. But the U.S. thought it won the Cold War. Really, it just failed to lose the Cold War first. The Soviet Union collapsed because people stopped believing in the government and in the socialist project, not because there was anything inherently flawed about socialism, although there was something inherently flawed about doing a one-party state approach to it, which is what the Soviets did, which is what led to the loss of public confidence in the government. A lot of problems that could have been avoided, and at least, even if they were still present, people would have understood them differently, interpret them differently, with a different paradigm if there was, an opposition party that was still socialist, or multiple, because the two-party system is still not really democracy, and as we see in the U.S. So maybe the game essentially erases socialism. I'm wrong, but until eudaimonia, which is taken to be, I don't know what the free drone's preference for it, but I'm not convinced. In the way that they synergize. Now, I think planned is at least a derivative May socialism. It refers to market mechanisms, and mind you can, to semi-market economy, mind you can have market socialism. That's the thing. Well, most of you probably never heard of the phrase market socialism is a real thing. Anyways, last turn I figured out, because I'm going to be doing that, I can start working the borehole here, because the number of nutrients to grow will decrease by 2 per row. So he's one more, and so it's 7 rows, 14, I think. Yep. So I don't need to produce any more nutrients at World Health Organization. In fact, I could run a nutrient deficit and be good. Wait a second. I could run a nutrient deficit and be good. What if... Ooh. If I did that... Or that, because maybe I'll... If I leave it on that, maybe I'll... I mean, that tile will probably clear later. And then... So I lose a lab point, but gain back a lab point in an economy. This growth is technically stagnant, but it does not need to be increasing. And yeah, that frees up a mine next to this borehole, which it doesn't look like any other base can work anyhow. Although, oh, I see. Rearrange. Oh, that's already being worked by a different base. No, I shouldn't work this because it might get in the way of other bases working that. But for some reason I wanted civil rights to work a forest. Oh, I might actually want that too. Same number of same number of minerals, 1 more energy, extra lab point. That just goes to waste, no reason for that. But yeah, Give me a sec. All right, a little optimization here. Yeah, should work that mine for UN headquarters while it's available. Next turn, it says that growth queue will World Health Organization, it'll be ready to grow instantly. I'll need to have more nutrients at the same time. Whatever's being worked, I'll need at least 1 surplus whatever's being. I think when the pop grows before it accumulates the minerals and stuff, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'll switch off the mine, free that up to be worked instead of the forest next turn. But yeah, the mine's an excellent tile. So for now, headquarters will work it. I have to switch between the cancer and the forest to get the right amount of nutrients, with this going up to 7. But yeah, I'm not sure if I don't think this is what I had it doing before. Could go back and check. I don't really care to. But yeah, there's always ways to micro a little better, it seems like. And I mean, Speaking of micro, I should see what's next to this unexplored. It's probably not got any resources or anything. So it probably doesn't matter. The game house certainly didn't spawn two resources next to each other. It's a C tile. They're all the same when they're not improved. Maybe ocean shelf, maybe deeper. Based on the coloration, it's probably ocean shelf. A little shower, if anything. I don't know if landformers on ships can raise tiles, or in sea bases can raise tiles above the ocean, or if you dry on the whole map, if you'd be unable to ever create land tiles again. It's an interesting thought. Also, apparently, farm condenser soil enricher rainy tiles eventually produce 7 nutrients. So one time I used to think, especially on Crossfire with aqua farms, expand the freshwater sea could get some of the highest nutrient yields, because those tiles can produce, I think with aqua farm it's either 5 or 6 nutrients per tile, but you can get 7 on land condensers. So yeah, freshwater sea never actually gets you better yields if you're crawling stuff for nutrients, and while the tile harnesses you can mix in are great, you're better off crawling for nutrients and running specialist sea bases eventually, especially if it's far from your HQ and you'd have inefficiency, which I'm going to have a lot of very soon. When I do planned, I might even want to consider here and there a specialist far from the HQ, like here where the bases bring in massive nutrients. Let's see. It's got 48 to grow. It's already got 6, so 42. Since it'll be dropping out of plan relatively quickly. It's growing 6 turn. Yeah, I would not want to decrease nutrient production here, actually. Unless... after 2 turns, that's going to go up by 2. So maybe this would instead run a specialist, a technician. Like so. 3 econ points instead of mineral. The nutrients would just go waste. That's actually slightly better, usually. So, cool stuff. Cool stuff. Let's go and see what happens. I guess I'll keep an eye here in case I see where the Spartan unit moves. Force expands.
Production complete.
Said near Forest Agency, but it didn't look like it was anywhere near it. Maritime Command has completed a recon rover. Yeah, I was working on started on a laser skim ship because I shouldn't let my navy.
If our society seems more nihilistic than that of previous eras, perhaps this is simply a sign of our maturity as a sentient species. As our collective consciousness expands beyond a crucial point, we are at last ready to accept life's fundamental truth, that life's only purpose is life itself. Chairman Shen Jiyang, looking God in the eye.
Something about that quote reminds me of Richard Dawkins, and he's like a militant atheist, but he's also an evolutionary biologist with some very keen insights. He's just not right about everything, and he's written some books that are a little pop sciencey and a little inaccurate, but it does highlight some important things many biologists prefer to pretend aren't true about how evolution works. It can drive itself to dead ends because evolution doesn't think, it has no consciousness, and so it's only whatever's mathematically beneficial in the short run. And you can even have genes that are doing things that are harmful to overall survival in the organism, because evolution actually occurs on the level of genes. It doesn't occur on the level of individual survival. If a gene actually led to fewer surviving offspring, but could guarantee all those offspring had copies of itself, or the offspring that had copies of it were more likely to survive, it would actually be selected for. You see this actually, biologists are aware of this. Dawkins really makes a point of it, where you see things like baby birds that actually make sounds uh, louder than would be optimal, begging for food, so that endangers their litter mates, so that it gives the parent bird an evolutionary incentive to feed them, or else the litter mates. It's an example of incentives being. It's complicated, but anyways, that was something I learned in high school, way before I got to college level biology. Once the colonists discovered how to survive, they focused on recreating some of the organizational tools left behind on Earth. Following the implementation of simple information networks, the creation of a standard for planetary networks emerges as a high priority for the scientific community. So basically, kind of the internet, World Wide Web. You can do the virtual world. I'm not in a really position to do that, which I guess means I snapped out of most games because the AI doesn't grab it, or have in the past, especially now in Crossfire, or Golden Age pop booming was a thing, but it's not a thing here in the base game. It's supposed to be, but it's not. So virtual world's less useful, and I actually have a real threat from the Spartans because they start in the Munson jungle, which is pretty much what always starts to make the AI a serious threat to you, especially the Spartans because they're a threat early game. They invest so heavily in their military, they're less of a threat later. They stifle their own economic growth. Anyways, probe teams. Oh yeah, cyber ethics, industrial automation this leads to. I mean, yes, commence social engineering. I suppose, or this is like mid-turn. I'd rather get the yields without it, so I can do it later. No reason to potentially hasn't incremented my labs income yet or something to reduce energy into that. Secrets of the Human Brain would allow fundamentalist, which would be useful for better probe teams. Let's see. Or I could go gene splicing into ecological engineering, lift my nutrient and mineral caps, even if the research hospital is useless. And minerals, stronger industry, more units to fight the Spartans. I'll probably steal non-linear mathematics and industrial based in Spartans, because they probably did both for the armor and weaponry. Perimeter defenses, meh. The math for it works better than I thought, because you're saving support unit costs, but you could have, say, one scout patrol, and that's not a perfect replacement for a perimeter defense, because scout patrol loses sometimes against mindworms, and then the base gets eaten anyways, whereas perimeter defense is a guaranteed one mindworm won't kill pop. And then when you consider how much nutrients it would cost to replace that pop, as well as not having to pay the support costs or the initial cost of a scout patrol, the return on investment of perimeter defense system is actually reasonable. It's still not as high as colony pods usually, but it's up there. It's actually a fairly good base facility if base is threatened by mindworms or enemy attacks. So bases in the edge of your empire, basically nowhere else. Since mindworms seem less likely to spawn in the middle fungus that's near bases. But yeah, it's still very marginal tech. Barely, not really worth the cost. Doctrine loyalty for me. What does it lead to? I forget. Oh yeah, intellectual integrity. Better policed units eventually. High morale. better mindworm control. It's not terrible. Secrets to the human brain or gene splicing. Those are really my options. Give me a sec. Took me a sec. While gene splicing provides some immediate benefit, a few tiles that are capped in nutrients. Takes a while for really not till the second tech to get much use. Go secrets to the human brain. Partly because it leads to some Centauri empathy.
Complete.
Wait. Whoops. Whoops. Shazza. I should have hurried that rover because it needs some overflow to dip into when I grow the space. Darn it.
Production complete.
Man, I like the forest expansion, although it's iffy where it happened. I could be able to work that tile anytime soon. But this is kind of a big deal. But yeah, and I did select the thing before all the energy ticked, so I was correct. That was best to not. Yeah, I need to go back. Frick. I needed to hurry this rover. That was not even a choice. Has to happen.
Turn complete.
Guess we hear the tech. Little speech again by Chairman Yang, the hive leader. Does have some philosophical stuff, and I think I explained before. One of the things is he's clearly a talented speaker. He understands people aren't necessarily agree with him, and he has to convince them, which many people can be very dogmatic. Just assume people are on the same page as him automatically. Although Miriam, you would think she's like that, but she's actually pretty good at least understanding, even though she spreads her dogmas. I guess not dogmatic, but arrogant. Assuming you can't start from the standpoint of people already agree with you. Like if I were to say, for instance, all tech is political. All investment is political. All research is political. That's seems ridiculous. But then, I can make a point. No, I said that in reverse. Sorry. If I was to say, right now, Trump is, for instance, politicizing research budget, and he's attacking all sorts of research that focuses on things he doesn't like gun violence or poverty or racial inequality. It's insane. As well as cutting the general medical research budget, as well as just all these shitty things he's doing. And if I were to start off with pointing out that, and people would be like, yeah, whatever. And then I were to make the point all research is political, people would say, what? No. But, I mean, think about it. What things do we put research in? It shows our priorities of society. The difference is, of course, you have people politicize it in shitty ways like Trump, and then people politicize it in ways. Politics is just basically whenever you have a bunch of people working out things that affect them all and sometimes are controversial. We talk about it like it's a dirty word. But honestly, it is not. Oh yeah, there's one other thing I could do here. I can invest some energy here at Alluvial Council just so I have less in reserve. In case I accidentally stumble across a Spartan unit next turn. Let's see. Plan should give +1 industry. So that would be 4. So I'd want to go 8 shy, but then I also do 2 a turn. No, because if I reduce the size in the queue, it's be like hurrying. Then the 2 would just... Alright.
Request confirmation.
Yeah, so I should be able to send 52. No, because it's gonna... That's 4 shy, but it is gonna gain 2. No, sorry, 48. And then start next turn, it'd be right where when I run planned, instantly the whole production queue is full. The production from that turn will just go into overflow. Cool. 202 energy. What's with that bloody sound? Yeah, you gotta meet people where they're at. Or if I said we're closer to a cybernetic society than the game, in the far future, citizens may turn many of the tasks of governing society over to artificially intelligent computers. The far future, right? No, we're increase the efficiency and free humans for more creative tasks. But workers displaced by computers, blah, blah, blah. We're on the verge of turning a lot of things over to AI right now with the huge breakthroughs in AI coming through. And honestly, much of the tasks people would entrust the government. You got these techno-libertarian Republicans, actually like J.D. Vance, Trump's vice president, is kind of one of these people who want to cut the heck out of government and shift things to private industry, and then private industry will run things with AI. So by way of private industry that's using AI, we're going to be turning over a lot of the tasks of the government to AIs. Of course, it's always political. Who controls the AI? What is the AI programmed to optimize? Honestly, it would be, especially if it's the hands of private corporations, programmed to optimize the wealth of a very select group of individuals rather than what's for the public good. That is very much a problem, but could be programmed differently. Say you had an actual workers' state, one where socialist parties were the largest parties in the republic. Then maybe the AIs would be controlled by the government instead of by private corporations and be given tasks that have been privatized. Maybe they would be programmed for the greater social welfare. It kind of matters what the context is, which I guess matters if you're running democratic police state, fundamentalist, free market. The other society choices matter in this game, interact in various interesting ways with cybernetic. So it's a curious question, to say the least. They also really want a mineral buffer on monitoring agency, maybe. I shifted it in a way. They've got 1 mineral surplus. They're about to grow at the start next turn. No, good. Really just bases are about to grow where weird things happen. Alright. Oh, give me a sec. I was considering whether work that forced instead of mine. It's not worth it. Definitely not worth it. Anyways, Weird stuff happens. Monitoring agency. World Health and Border Agency. Yeah. Cool. Nice if I got the force boom again.
Production complete.
This time. You know, I should have noted. Got it again. Where that was.
If our society seems more nihilistic than that of previous eras, perhaps this is simply a sign of our maturity as a sentient species. As our collective consciousness expands beyond a crucial point, we are at last ready to accept life's fundamental truth, that life's only purpose is life itself. Chairman Shen Jiyang, looking God in the eye.
But yeah, there's those who would. 212 energy.
Production complete. Production complete.
221. Yeah, would have lost a little energy if I rolled that right in. But I don't know if might have instantly completed this. Maybe. Interesting that forced expansion P itself. So I'm gonna have 5 laser skim ships eventually. It's more fungus than I thought, so both more risk to naval units. It's slower to explore. Alright. Save this. And time for some social engineering. Planned. Could do. Boom. First of all, it's a huge upheaval cost. It actually might be cheaper to do one at a time. Or maybe it's just the second thing you move away from basic. But also, the support, it's like 14 minerals a turn. Not worth it. Could have dipped into democratic and out before, but yeah. Efficiency is actually less of an issue. Let's see. Net income 19. Income 3. Okay, I lose an awful lot of energy credits, like approximately 32 energy lost to inefficiency this way. And yet that's not as bad as losing around 13 or 14 minerals. Versus, but that does gain me like 10 energy. Less waste. Interesting. I didn't even think of that. Huh, maybe I should have dipped into democratic before. Inefficiency is worse than I thought. This one industry. Give me a choice between like 14 minerals, which I'd estimate a value of around 32, since they're worth a little more than 2 at least. And so it's a net cost of 22 versus net cost of 32. So you pay 10 more by getting industry out of this as well. Which I'll save 8 just on hurrying the recycling tanks, and there may be other stuff. I want to hurry as well. Yeah, actually, it's better to do a dip in the planned. Alright, especially because there's ways I can work around the low efficiency. Boom. Growth, 1 turn. Wait, can I actually grow without nutrient surplus? Ah, that would be interesting. Except... might starve right back down. I don't know what will happen here. But boom. There's a number of places I might rush. No. This one's probably the biggest, though. So yeah, that's already saved me at least 4 energy and probably more. And then I'll save energy rushing on the... save effectively energy on the recycling tanks. Over at Alluvial Council. This is now 0 turns. Completion. And some overflow. Guess time for Recon Rover. As much as I might like to do a Formers or something, I cannot have the military be too weak with the Spartans at my door. Enemy at the gates. You know? Reminds me of the description of militarized economy in Stellaris. What good is guns and butter or something? What good is I forget, like consumer goods when the enemy is battering down the gates or something? It says something like that. But yeah, Centauri empathy. Salami. To train mind worms. Build a biology lab. Run green. Can give units empath and build the empath guild if I want. Which is actually pretty cheap. It's only 180. Much cheaper in the virtual world. For instance, just say it's 20 rows. So be it back up to 200 since it won't stay unplanned. Allows you to contact any leader and gives you an infiltrator in every faction. It's like 10 recon rovers less because support. You get extra votes in elections. The key thing is contact with the leaders, early contact, and infiltrators. Infiltrators will save a little probe team action on the Spartans. But the contact will give me tech trades and be worth a lot in terms of, especially if I broker tech sign, which I know some people say, oh, it's broken. It's powerful. The AI should know to do it. I hope in Thinker mod when I switch that later, when I have to do a campaign that after this, that the AI is smart enough to do tech brokering, but if they aren't, well, they're a lot smarter in that, and I'll probably go up a difficulty level to actual Thinker. Definitely doing Transcend, because Transcend really screws with some of the base game balance elements. In fact, the higher 2 difficulties both do much higher chance of eco damage at the top 2 difficulty levels and higher level of native life spawning. But Transcend, you start to get real problems. Bases can't be larger in size 1 or 2 with the Peacekeepers without a police unit. It's really, I don't know. It actually gives advantage to the university in some ways. It's not all factions scale equal well. Makes the Morganites, I guess, much more powerful. Some people say Morganites are underrated, and there are always people who play very high difficulties where the Morganites don't have to worry because the size 4 base limit is kind of irrelevant when you not really can't keep bases happy enough to want to go beyond size 4 anyhow. Or not much beyond. So, different factions are stronger at different difficulty levels. And that doesn't mean they're weaker, stronger factions. It's that the game isn't perfectly balanced to the way the game chooses to change difficulty. I mean, it's just like you can change planet settings to advantage, say, the Gaians for having abundant native life if you're doing a random map. So they do better at higher difficulties. The Gaians, the Morganites, both thrive at the higher difficulty of the original factions. Peacekeepers actually do very well relative to a lot of the other factions, I suppose, because the ability to have a size 2 or 3 base instead of 1 or 2 without running doctors, it's very advantageous. It's a relatively bigger thing, but whatever. Makes me wonder why people don't like the Peacekeepers. They're so, I mean, partly it's a lot of people started playing this game, played it when they're in university, so they played the university. They thought of themselves as these great scientists because they, I don't know, did a little programming. And they still dominate a lot of the forums and stuff, those sorts, because started playing then and developed this kind of nostalgia for the university because that's the first faction they played. Plus, you know, you get to play with endgame tools more when you're newer, especially. It's harder to tech up quick as other factions. Eventually you learn how to use other factions so they keep a comparable tech rate, but anyhow. Should definitely do a farm here. First thing. And maybe I'll raise terrain. I was thinking of like solar panels, but raise terrain first, and I get 2 tiles of don't fungus above sea level. The one's north and south. And it only costs like 6 or 7 energy credits to do, I think, in 8 turns. Ocean sea formers are very expensive, so it'd be difficult to improve those tiles otherwise. And I could do a condenser, benefit both those tiles. Make a condenser far more worthwhile there instead of a solar panel if I want. Turn this into a rainy rolling tile. Anyways. How many bases do I have? That's the question I was... Should we just give you a number somewhere? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So far it's 10, kind of from the bottom. 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, so 14 minerals. A turn I lose from Democratic. A dip in the plan under democracy becomes more worthwhile the bigger bases are, because each growth is more expensive in nutrients. Short dip will to give you more nutrients at a time. It might not have been worth a Democrat dip before. It's barely worth planned right now. They don't seem to be in bureaucracy drones yet. Ha! Total inefficiency this base. It's producing no energy. None. It's nice growth, but I'm not gonna stay with this, I doubt. Because the massive, like 32 energy a turn costs. It's not worth it for more than like a turn or two. Yeah, I should look at the bases they're producing on energy. I think that civil rights is working the solar. Some of the solar panels. Interesting. Hunger in one turn. Oop. It's because I accidentally pulled off that. Still grows without. Anyways. Work this so I'll have more nutrients next turn. Which cost me a lab point apparently, but it might be that this tile auto gets auto worked. I get the. But yeah, I should keep a nutrient over a mineral. Not completely choke my economic growth for the military. Civil rights monitoring agency. Let's see. All these solar panels are only producing one lab point. Why is it? It's trying to make me move stuff over there. One thing at a time. These tiles are always moist, all of them. Even with the condenser, I think it was arid before. Something made it drop down from rainy, I don't know. I think improve that noise and make it moist. So it's an arid farm solar, now moist. Same energy either way. So it's a mineral or a nutrient. Take the nutrient. Laser squad is not useful until I'm about to, be able to upgrade the laser squad's auto particle to impact infantry. Should be cheap to do. So work that condenser. It's too bad forest didn't grow there, but yeah. And this is about to be worked when this grows. Probably want nutrient surplus anyways. Not the nutrients won't go to waste. Let's fix this. Time to work that. Lucky that condenser will get a forced. Shouldn't. Boom. Nutrient surplus, growth, and probably worth the rainy rolling towel. That might just work the condenser next. The pops, that is. Eco damage keeps scaling. Eventually I'll get a fungal boom near the space. Some weird stuff where the base is about to grow. Or change, rather, in plans where it's about to grow. I don't know. Oh, okay. So yeah, it'll probably auto-assign the pop to the rainy flat tile just so they don't starve. I don't have to actually worry. If this actually grows, the pop will sustain itself, not starve. Yeah. It was able to grow without shifting off the borehole thanks to plan. That's... I mean, it's a hidden 8 or 7 minerals, at least. Plus everything else. Definitely worth the shift. There might have been a point before I could have shifted into democracy now, but who knows? Maybe not. Hmm. Alright, anyways, I don't mean to bore you guys with that. So, let's see what now. Running planned economy. Working slowly. I do have 7 tech accumulated. As I said, there is breakthrough, or maybe it's... I mean, overflow. I think what actually happens is it goes down the list of bases, and once I finish out the tech cost, I get the tech, and then it runs the remaining bases that hadn't contributed to labs yet. It's probably actually that. Meaning more small bases is a little more efficient. Secrets of human brain also eventually leads to body enhancement, but Centauri empathy, Centauri meditation requires ecological engineering. But yeah. Green economy would be useful someday. Expanding very wide. Since I can't run planned for a while. Until I develop my specialist economy. Especially for the HQ. To have the Chone's gracious to take advantage of running democratic. Need an educated citizenry for democracy. Some truth to that. Yeah, this condenser also allows border agency to have another pop and not starve. Nice. the 1 turn until that's available. Because the pup needs something to work until partway through next year. The farm finishes there. Where does this farmers gets HQ? That's right. That's where it gets support. So we get minerals here. Give me a sec. Okay, it was 1 sec. So this farmer, I was thinking where I'd want to put a farm if I want to clear a forest. There's some advantage in clearing a forest, to be sure, but if I put a farm here in this wrong rainy tile, that'll be a farm mine eventually. I don't know how forest expansion works under the hood. If it selects the forest and then selects an eligible tile to grow, or if it selects a tile that could receive a forest. So I don't know basically if limiting the options of forest leads to just fewer pops, or it directs growth to where it can expand. It's possible I might be increasing the chances of condenser receiving a forest if I block a tile here. Or I might just be cheating myself out of free minerals. But there's also getting this sensor array done. I have to remember military pursuits. And there is a window of time. Ah! And of course I screwed that up. Not surprising. Figures I would. I'll talk while I'm doing this AO and notice things. So there is a window of time where there are those rovers, and they are likely to be the ones to we have to fix HQ WHO because they always saved right at the beginning. Boom. Actually, a nutrient or a mineral.
Request confirmation.
Oh yeah, mineral. To get the next rover done quicker. Take advantage of this forest not being impeded over. So I might do a WHO. All right. Oops. 3, 4, 4.
Request confirmation.
Nice. Let's hurry this. And hurry this if I'm only going to run.
Request confirmation.
So for a turn, I might as well take advantage of the rover costing 2 less minerals. Done a little sooner. Maintain higher military readiness. Same
Request confirmation.
here. Alright. Made heavy use of planned. Drained a lot of my energy reserves from it. There we go. So all these rovers here are more likely, if a ram mime worm wanders in, to be the ones attacked than this former transport stack, which I will need to fend. Based on the bases and the sensor arrays, monitoring agency is a little less likely to be attacked. A little. Let's do this. Scout patrol back there. Stiff, so guard with scout patrol, guard with a rover, I guess. Give me a moment. Sorry, a few things to consider. I'm gonna bring this transport north because couple considerations if I need to rush military units. Anything around here probably be able to be in position on time. Stuff up here, less so. Also, these formers, I don't know if both of them will have to use their actions next turn, or just one. If it's just one, I may be able to have one go into civil rights next turn. And have the former go to the sensor. And then it can load up here. Boom. Boom. Anyways, get stuff near Hydrology Council quicker because actually it doesn't need to go to sensor. It could just, anyways, get stuff to Hydrology Council quicker because I could put some condensers on these tiles. Also, Alluvial Council. It's not getting energy. I need to maintain plan for a turn, so yeah. When I go back to not running planned, this will make it 15 nutrients to grow. And I'll be back to... Well, I could do this, or I could just keep running this because this can grow even before. first. A condenser, since it'll get 1 nutrient from a condenser before farm, but 2 after. Actually, more than 2. Get all the way up to 7. Because it'd be base 4. Yeah, it'd be 2 on a condenser, but 1 on a farm. Right off the bat, anyways. Farm gets done sooner. Might be optimal, might not, I don't know. They're cycling tanks also. So if it's the option of running this or this. Defend that. And there's a lot of moving parts here. I know exactly how a lot of things work. Like if I get 3 or 4 nutrients going the next turn. But for now, given the choice between 2 nutrients and a mineral or 3 nutrients, I'll take 3 nutrients. This tiny little base, especially because looks like the base could get wiped out when it's a little bigger. And sooner I can grow, sooner I can work this tile, which minerals, sweet minerals. Can see all the way out to here, so if my worm did show up here, here, pull the Scout Patrol back into space. This is actually the best place to station a defender, interestingly, because it provides defense bonuses, I think, from mine worms coming from the river, down the river. This, on the other hand, now has 2 moves. Needs to sit in a base. Did enough to provide insurance there. Let's get it healing. need to mess with designated defenders there and then forget about it potentially. That would be bad. Hmm. Alright, well, I don't particularly want to lose this hardened rover, so I'll protect it with the monitoring agency one, especially because so few minerals here. I do need to get the laser squad done eventually. And that's a scout rover protecting the recon. Cool. So bloody many rovers. That's a fail. As was that. Spartans can't spot this unit unless they enter my territory. Disciplined recon rover.